ever wondered what it means to be extraordinary according to Ellis Gray or Meredith Gray? Have you ever wondered if you can be extraordinary? Well, all I do know is throughout my 20s, I had to find that question and answer that question on what it means to be extraordinary. And what I do know is that people that the society has classified as being extraordinary has been celebrities, people who are movers and shakers. And what I do know so far as being extraordinary is that there's tons of discipline, there's tons of sacrifice, there's tons of hard work, there's tons of sweat that goes into becoming extraordinary. And being extraordinary doesn't all end up happening all at once, right? You put in the work and then you reap the rewards years later. I think I know how to be extraordinary. Hello guys, my name is MJ and I'm turning freaking 30 next year. That is right. I am 29 right now. I'm no longer scared of becoming 30. I am no longer scared of turning that big 3-0. And I can't wait for that next chapter of my life. Now that I'm 29, I've learned a lot of lessons, a lot of tips on the way of becoming this 3-0 and on my way of living my extraordinary life. Now, before I give you my tips and lessons in each and every specific areas of common areas that we do have in our lives, such as money, relationships, friendships. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to live your 20s. In fact, I'll talk about that more in a minute, but I'm gonna give you some general tips about what you should be thinking or doing in each and every stage of your 20s. And these are the things I think you should be doing so you are present and you are aware of what's happening in your 20s. If you just turned 20 and you are about to turn 21 or in your early 20s, let me give you the biggest tip right now. Baby girl, baby boy. You should not be worrying about your 20s. If you are in your early 20s, you should not be worrying about your early 20s, okay? Your 20s in this state of your life is about exploring, getting to know yourself and the world. You are just about to, or you have left your parents' nest and now you have your world is your oyster. So my biggest tip to my early 20-year-olds out there is to live your life. That means explore the world and do not be bogged down by stresses or what the society says that you should be living your early 20s. Okay, for my mid-20-year-olds, okay, for my girls and boys and people who are turning 25, 26, 24, now let me tell you, to maximize and optimize your 20s, you should sit down, write a list of goals and wants and needs that you want to accomplish, that you want to achieve, that you want to do in your 20s. So by the time you reach your 30s, we'll talk about in a minute, you get to reassess. Now, it's good to have a little bit of a roadmap of how you want to live your 20s. I'm not saying that you should have a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan, but I'm saying that you should at least have an idea of where you want to end up by the end of your 20s. Us girls and boys here who are reaching that 3-0, okay? You want to sit down and reassess, look at those goals, look at those things that you wanted to try to accomplish and see if you did it. See if you are proud of them. See if there are any regrets and try to make sure you change it for the next decade of your life. These are general tips of how to make sure that you are present in your 20s, that you're maximizing and optimizing your 20s. And if you end up doing this, you will have a great idea of where you want your 20s to go. And you want to reassess that entire decade to see if you're happy with what you did. And if you're not, you don't want to repeat any mistakes. You don't want to repeat any things you've done wrong. And trust me, I am definitely doing that. I am sitting down right now. I am reassessing everything. Before we even talk about how to level up or optimize our 20s, we have to acknowledge the fact that we are privileged to be talking about these things. There are many people in the world, all over the world, going through horrific things, and many people who are only thinking about their needs and necessities, that they're still trying to make ends meet. They have no time to think about leveling up. So also to know, if you're trying to wonder how I got this beautiful jumper, here, check out my haul. I did a really nice cozy haul for the winter. If you're like me and you overanalyze and think about each and every thing of everything, and you want to see if you are doing it right, you need external validation, you're on the right path, you want to make sure that you are living that extraordinary life. Well, let me tell you some tips and lessons that I've learned in my 20s in these key areas that I think will help you. Now, you don't have to be in your 20s to learn some of these things. Let's first talk about money. Now, in our 20s, we are broke. Beyond taking care of our needs and our necessities, shelter, clothes, and food, that we try to save. Now, I know all the adults are saying and talking about savings, and yes, try to save. If you know how to invest in the market and stock market, try to invest your money, or just save your money underneath the bed or in a bank account. It don't really matter. Okay, it don't really matter. Saving will make wonders for you. If you start saving in your 20s, if you want to have a car, house, you will be able to get that done sooner rather than later if you started in your 30s. And I know it's really hard because you just want to YOLO. You know, you only live once. Just spend all that money so you can experience the gratification that happens in that present. But let me tell you, when I say, and that when everybody in their late 20s say, or in their early 30s, save your dollar. Okay, save that moolah, baby. The next section I want to talk about is career. So when it comes to your career, this is something that will be different for everybody. But I do want to say, wherever you go, make sure you shoot for the moon. Make sure you pick something that scares you to the bone. And yes, I am talking about fear. Fear will keep you on your toes. Something that excites you and exhilarates you, that makes you tingle. Yes, you want to do that. And make sure you find something or a couple of things that is not picked out by your parents, by society, by your friends. Be something that you completely wholehearted and you're completely excited about. Because you will definitely regret doing that later on in your life. I mean, there are people that I know are having second, third careers because they had so much external pressure early on that this is what they needed to do and this is what they needed to become. After getting to know themselves and, realizing that they no longer can handle that pressure, that they've moved on and they've decided to open up that store, go to medical school, become a lawyer, start that business, or just be a stay-at-home mom or whatever. So definitely pick a career, pick a profession that you're passionate about, and that requires you to dabble in a few interests. Now, you're going to be hearing me saying this a lot throughout this video. You need to be able to know who you are. The next thing is dating and intimate relationships. Now, explore different types of people. Now, the top 3 things that I have for you is, number 1, you need to pick somebody that adds value to your life, that does not complete you. You should not be having a person that is there to complete you. Nobody and nothing can complete you and God, let's be honest. You should not be getting married or being in a relationship because you feel empty or alone. Like, go get some interests, okay? Go do some things, okay? You should already know who you are for the most part before you enter into a marriage, before you enter into a relationship. Or if you are in a relationship, make sure you are still finding yourself and not relying on that partner to fulfill you, to complete you. To marriages and things like that, yes, some people find their soulmate or their one early on and they get married, and that's okay. Do not feel pressured to be married. All of my friends are getting married later on, and I think a lot of people are getting married later on. because we have the technology and the options and things like that and the opportunities now these days to do that. So do not feel pressured to get married. Do not feel pressured to be in a relationship, and do not feel ashamed if you are still single. It's okay. Live your best life if you are still single. When it comes to dating and intimate relationships, you need to be able to explore so you can figure out people's compatible with people and see if there's chemistry. You need to be able to know what you want in a person, what you want in a partner. And sometimes that requires you to do some self-discovery for yourself before you do some self-discovery in another person. You know what I mean? Now, friends. Now, friends are everything. That's your second family. Your second family are your friends. So choose really good, genuine, who can stick by you through the thick and thin. At least they should anyway. That's what friends are for. Friends in your 20s are really, really easy to make. A lot of us make our friends during school. A lot of us make friends during when we're working and things like that. So it's really easy to make friends in your 20s. And once you found that really good friend who also adds value to your life. Again, a friend should not complete you. You should not be dependent on a person, and you stick by that person with all you got. Okay? Because let me tell you, it is so freaking hard to find friends in your late 20s, early 30s. It is so hard. It's so easy to make friends in your 20s because the people that we wanted to make friends with, they were always there, right? You go to college, you see the same people, so you had no choice but to make friends with those people. You go to work, you see the same people, so you have those choices, especially spending so much time in work, you have no choice but to make friends with those people. Because you are forced to be in certain types of environments, okay? You are forced to make friends. Now, when it comes to family are, in some to most cases, they're your rock. When you're moving apartments, when you're getting a new car, when you're moving schools, when you end up in a breakup, your family will end up being there for you for the most part. And if they're not, and this comes to all different types of relationships, they should be cut off out of your life. I know, they're your family. How can you cut your family out of your life? It's going to be easier said than done, but you should, because that toxicity is not good for you. You definitely want to have your family and appreciate your family. Be grateful for your family, because you never know when they're going to be gone, either physically on this earth or move to a different city. Okay, definitely utilize our family a lot in our 20s. And when you get older, if you're in your early 20s, you would realize how grateful you are to have such amazing supportive family who've helped you so much in your 20s. So when it comes to being extraordinary, what I do gotta say that it is a very subjective experience. Not so subjective experience when it comes to being extraordinary is, yes, if you want to be the next Bill Gates or the next Steve Jobs or the next Oprah, it's going to require a lot of hustle, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline, and sometimes a lot of talent, sometimes made and sometimes not so made. That's the not so subjective extraordinary. But when it comes to being extraordinary depends on who you are as a person. It depends on what you want in this world, and what your wants and needs are. In your 20s, you should figure out what you want, what your interests are, and what you think you should be doing to live that extraordinary life, or get to the point where you are being extraordinary. It really just means living your best truth. If you are living a lie, or you have some factors and some barriers stopping you from being that extraordinary person, or that barrier ends up being you, living your true best self does require a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And it's gonna take some time. There are people who are living their extraordinary lives and they're in their 50s, 60s, 40s. And you have to realize that it may take time for you to be, but in your 20s, that, let me tell you, your 20s will be rough. And in most cases, your life will not be extraordinary. But if you are making small steps, goals, if you're aware of the process, aware of your actions, self-aware of what you're doing, what you're saying, that you are on the best path on living that extraordinary life. And you will make mistakes. You might have some regrets. But guess what? That's our 20s. That's all being normal. We are normal out here in these streets. That's just where it is. And for me, and if you're probably asking me, am I living that extraordinary life? Well, all I got to say to that is I am on the best path. I'm living that extraordinary life. I'm making the right steps. I am definitely living my truth, and I am happy with where I am. And I used to be really scared, but I do gotta say is I am not so scared on turning 30. I actually can't wait to see what this next chapter has to offer for me. And I can't wait to take you guys on the ride. So yes, according to Meredith and Ellis Gray, you can be extraordinary. It just requires a lot of work from you. You got this though. Stay woke and stay healthy and stay safe. And let me know what you guys think about this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao. Happy holidays.